In Saturday night's race at Kentucky Speedway, it looked like Joey Logano would take home his third victory of the 2019 season. But Russell, you're going to have to remove that jacket because a late caution from a spin by Bubba Wallace caused everybody to restart in a shootout, and the ending became a brother versus brother race for the win. Kurt Busch came from 6th place to battle Kyle side by side for the lead and took the checkered flag from his little brother. Good evening and welcome to ROSS Racing, of course brought to you by Rockingham Dragway. I am Matt Harrelson and this is Russell Parker, who is disappointed with his driver not getting the win, but not at all about the way this race finished.
Yeah, it was, I gotta admit though, for the most of the race, it wasn't all that exciting for the most part, but as we got closer to the end of it, with that caution, that really late race caution, it just kind of bunched everybody together. And it just, you could just kind of feel it. I mean, nobody went down pit road except for one other driver, but it just, you had these two drivers who, especially for me, from my point of view, you had two drivers, Aric Jones and Kurt Busch, who were two of the guys I felt that were going to win out of the two races left in the regular season. And it just, it almost happened for Jones, but Kurt Busch coming up, battling his brother, it was just a really awesome conclusion to that race that really made up for the rest of the night. And I think that just having two brothers going at it is a tremendous rivalry to have, and especially these two, we've seen them in the past battle for, and every time they get close to each other, everybody's watching. And you think that when you get into a family member, when you're racing, you're thinking, are they going to race any different with each other? No, they're not racing each other any different at all. In fact, they're probably racing each other harder.
Absolutely. Well, Kurt Busch came from 6th place all the way to 1st in just a couple of laps. So what gave him the edge over the 5 that were in front of him at the restart?
Yeah, so it was tires. He came in a little bit later in the race, and he came down pit road on the green flag a little bit late in the race, and he had fresher tires than everybody else. And
rubbers are important.
It is very important, and especially in this case when you got a shootout like this. Logano, who had, I believe, had over a 4-second lead over second place at the time of that caution, so he was well on his way to win that because he had a good long-run car there. And tires were not playing a factor. I mean, no matter how far back you were or how close you were, tires were not going to help out very much in that situation. But as you get to a shootout like this, 2 or 3 laps, you've got, tires are going to play a big factor. And it also helped out Busch by having his teammate, Kyle Larson, who was right behind him, and kept Kurt Busch from having to worry about who was behind him because he knows his teammate's going to help him get to the front if possible. And he helped them out all the way through. Never had to look at his rearview mirror. He just kept on going. He battled side by side with Kyle Busch in the door. And he feels like that Kyle may have gave him a little bit of room there coming out of a turn. But, I feel like that they still raced really hard. And Kurt Busch, of course, having that bit of a redemption from last week, I feel like I had to play in that effect. Some emotion and just a little bit better tires and teammates, really good teammates to help back you up.
All right, well, this win must feel like redemption for the one team, considering last week you just mentioned at Daytona they pitted just before the red flag was waved and lost their front spot. But besides that, this was a huge victory for not only for Kurt, but for the entire team and Chip Ganassi Racing, right?
Definitely. I mean, you look at the number one team stats. Before Kurt Busch, it was Jamie McMurray. He raced in that car from between 2010 and 2018, and he had the last win in that car, and it was 2013 at Talladega. That's 203 races prior to the number one getting a win. So there's a lot of teammates on Kurt Busch's team that have their first win, including his crew chief. So to have a first-time win like that with a veteran driver, sure. Kurt pretty much told these guys when he came in, said, we're going to win a race this season, and he proved it. And he's gotten he's gotten a couple of top 5s already this season. He's come close already to winning a race. Kurt is just kind of on another level here, and nothing against Jamie McMurray. It's just that Kurt Busch is a champion. He's a veteran driver, and with 20 years of experience driving. Right. So, and his last win was the previous year at Bristol, in the fall race. That was only 24 races ago. So he's still fresh off of wins, and he's won with almost every crew chief I believe he's ever had out of 9. So, and Kurt Busch, like I said, veteran driver, and when you got that going behind you, it just kind of builds up momentum around everyone. Everybody's all in a positive mood, and I think he just brought new life to the team.
Did you just say he's had 9 different crew chiefs?
Yes. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
That was going to be my next question. Is that a positive or a negative or indifferent?
I think it's a positive thing for him to say that he's won with every single one of them, and that's pretty much the case. Almost every year, his 20-year career in the Cup Series. Well, I guess you can exclude the part-time race that he had before his rookie season, but overall, I mean, he's won at least once almost every season. So every crew chief has a win, and I think maybe he just helps crew chiefs get better. And you see crew chiefs have multiple different drivers, but for a driver to help a crew chief out is kind of the situation here, I feel like.
Yeah, and it shows you the kind of talent he has when it doesn't really seem to matter who's around him. Victory is a victory.
Oh, yeah.
So while one veteran gets a win in the Cup Series, a Truck Series rookie got his first win Thursday night. We're talking about 18-year-old Tyler Ankrum, driver of the number 17 Toyota Tundra, taking advantage of front-runner Brett Moffitt running out of fuel with less than 2 laps remaining. These guys never seem to learn. Sort of like we did last week with Justin Haley. Russell, you have some stats on this new first-time winner.
Yeah, so Tyler Ankrum is he actually is the 2018 K&N East Series champion with 4 wins in that series. So he knows how to win. He knows how to get championships. Prior to this win, he had 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s in this season. And he's led 40 laps at Kentucky, so he did lead some. It wasn't kind of just given to him that he got in the right place at the right time. He was being competitive in that race. He's also got 9 laps led at Texas. But one thing that kind of stood out to me for him was that he's the first national touring driver in NASCAR to win being born after 2000, being born in 2001.
Wow, that makes me feel old.
Me too, and I'm only 23, so
yeah.
22. So
yeah, you're absolutely right. Well, while Ankrum will now have a shot at the Gander Outdoor Truck Series Championship in the playoffs, for some drivers, they only have 3 more races to try and find their way into the big dance. How are those drivers looking, Russell?
Well, there's really there's a huge gap between 12th and 13th. 12th is the cutoff, so there's a 113-point gap, which is not going to be made up in 3 races. So you're going to have to win, and for drivers like Tyler Dipple, Brennan Poole, Spencer Boyd, those guys are going to have to get wins despite being 70 points behind. And I think you're just going to have to see some really hard racing coming up. We've got Pocono. Eldora is probably going to be a wild card. It's a dirt track, and Michigan. And I'm not really sure who to pick between Pocono and Michigan. I guess it's who are going to be the best at running with the draft, because these trucks don't get as fast as the Cup drivers will. So they're going to be kind of playing with the draft. And I'm not sure the draft is going to be as strong as it is with like Xfinity or Cup. So it's going to be about who can get the fastest to start off the day and who can just stay up front all day. And but for the dirt race at Eldora, that can go any way possible.
So I got a question for you. That is a huge number. What did you say, 112 points?
113. Yeah.
113. How did it get so big?
You can make a lot of things. The thing is, the Truck Series is also a shorter schedule. So you've got you cannot make as many mistakes. There's 36 races in the Cup Series, and there's like 23 in the Truck Series. So you got little room for error to make in the Truck Series, and also kind of doesn't help that Kyle Busch races down there and still some of them wins. So, but he hasn't raced there in a while, so these guys have gotten opportunities to try and win without the Cup drivers getting in the way.
Spreading the wealth out, if you will.
Yeah, and for guys like Tyler Dipple, Brennan Poole, I think he had a pretty solid race at Kentucky, but it's no longer about having solid races; it's about getting victories. And when you've got drivers up there who are winning, like Ross Chastain continuously winning in the Truck Series, and he's also competing, and then you got new drivers kind of stepping up to take these wins from the veterans right now. I don't know, you just got to really play hard to win now at this point to make it in.
All right. Well, you've thrown a lot of names out there as far as drivers, so let's continue that. Who you got in the groove this week, Russell?
For the Truck Series, I got Stuart Friesen, who started way in the back at 32nd and finished second on the day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, big congrats to him. And for the Xfinity Series, I got Michael Annett. He started 10th, finished 4th. That was really the lowest position that started. So almost everybody that was inside that top 10 kind of stayed up there. But I feel like he was the first back to move up, so that's why I put him there. For the Cup Series, I got Ryan Newman, who started 35th, finished 9th. And that's a big win for him because he's kind of on the bubble right now for the Cup Series playoffs. Only maybe a few points separating that line right now. So for him, that's a big day.
All right. Well, you know what else is in the groove is this old age challenge. And social media, of course, has been buzzing about this trend. And NASCAR drivers have gotten in on the fun as well. So we got a few pictures to show off right here. So tell us a little bit about what we're seeing here.
Well, we got Kyle Busch here on your left and Martin Truex here on the right. To me, personally, I feel like Truex really hasn't aged that much.
No, not really.
He looks about the same.
I got to say, the Candyman, though, better days, I feel like.
Yeah, better day
had.
for sure.
All right, who we got here?
We got the Penske crew guys. We got Ryan Blaney from left to right. We got Ryan Blaney, Logano, Austin Cindric from the Xfinity Series, Keselowski, Menard, and Brad. He's kind of. I'm agree with what you said on Kyle Busch that Brad's seen better days as well.
Yeah. Now I know a lot of people having fun with this app, and we did the same here. So looking at you, Russell, you got a full head of gray hair there. It looks good,
yeah,
man.
I thought I might look more like my dad, but I got a lot more grayer hair than him at that point. And, of course, we got you out there who I feel like you kind of look like Larry McReynolds from the Fox NASCAR team there. You kind of favor him a little bit older. So.
I think you've told me that before. My grandfather is, on my mom's side, is actually who I really look like there, which that makes sense. And, of course, Joseph Lombard getting in on the action there in the middle.
I had to add him in there. And,
it looks to me like he just lost his hair, and that was about it, right?
Yeah, I think he's probably the best-looking guy of all of us there. So, good for him on his jeans.
I do have to say, I know you're probably too young, but you look like one of the guys from the A-Team. The one that, I think his name was Hannibal, smoked the cigars. Look it up when we get done.
I'll have to check it out.
You look just like him. So... but NASCAR is going to be leaving the Bluegrass State and will be going to the Granite State to race 300 laps around New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Russell, what do you expect to see out of the flat 1 mile track?
Yeah, this track has kind of had it's been an interesting race to see in the past few years. We've seen Logano, Kyle Busch kind of dominate this track, Brad Keselowski and Denny Hamlin. Those are kind of your 4 front runners. Of course, Truex has been coming in and play with that. So you got your usual guys, and it's kind of nothing different we've seen in the past since, I want to say, at least 2014. It's been the kind of same 4 or 5 drivers, and that's been kind of dominating. This is kind of Logano's home track, if you will, so I expect to see him running well. I saw a video of him actually doing some film watching on a laptop, so he's already getting prepared for it, and I'm sure everyone else is, but I feel like this is going to be a day that's going to be dominated by Ford and Toyota.
Well, I got to ask you, before we go to the rock block here, 2014, that's a lot of years seeing the same guys. Do some other guys need to step up? Or, I mean, what's going on here with the same guys popping up week after week?
You do have other drivers that's kind of in the mix, but they just don't stay there every single year like those guys do. So, like Kevin Harvick, he ran pretty solid there for a few years as well. Even got a victory, but you just kind of see guys kind of fade away after a race. And it's just kind of like that, especially with the rules package changing all the time. It just seems...
But it seems like the same guys, it doesn't seem to affect them. They keep winning.
Yeah, that's the thing. I guess maybe because they keep winning, they're getting more banks, so they can kind of keep rolling with the flow, if you will.
It's a vicious cycle.
I suppose that's what it is. But I do expect to see maybe Chase Elliott run up very, very well. He's been probably the best driver in Hendrick right now. Alex Bowman, I thought, going to be really good there as well. But I would just continue, as the history shows that Penske and Gibbs are the 2 favorites. And that's not just because of this season or past season, but many seasons.
Yes, a lot of history there. Speaking of a lot of history, of course, the Rock Block is where we're headed next, brought to you by the Rockingham Dragway, of course, and RockinghamDragway.com. Say it every week, folks. Plenty going on this weekend, no exception. Making way for the motorcycles this weekend. It's going to be the Kings of Grudge Motorcycle Mega Fest, taking place Friday and Saturday. So kicking off tomorrow, gates will open up at 2 p.m. Registration will begin at 3, and those gates will not close until midnight. So prepare to stay late.
All night.
On Saturday, gates will reopen at 9 a.m. Saturday. Registration begins at 10 a.m. Gates won't close until 1 a.m. So even more time to spend out there racing all day long, both Friday and Saturday. Now, if you want to make test runs, you have to purchase tech cards. Those are $40 a piece. Of course, there's a full slate, a full schedule. If you want to find that, as I call FOMO info, Go to rockinghamdragway.com and you can get all that information that you need.
Sounds like a blast.
It's going to be always a good time out at the Rockingham Dragway. So before we finish up here, give us some predictions. Who you got this week?
For the Xfinity Series, I've got Austin Cindric, who we just saw up there with the old face there.
Old man Austin.
I feel like he's going to have him a good old victory at New Hampshire. Another driver who also drives a 22 car. For the Cup Series, I've got Joey Logano winning, and I'm going to put my jacket back on for this one.
Really?
So,
Got him winning at the lower stage.
I got him winning his home state, so home track, if you will. So not too far away from Middletown, Connecticut. So I feel like he's got this one in the win. I said it last week, too, that I feel like he's got this one in the bag. So go 22.
All right. Well, as I say every week, go ahead and book it. Take those numbers because Russell is always correct when it comes to picking the NASCAR and Truck Series and Xfinity, and you just know everything about it. So, all right, that's going to do it for this edition of ROSS Racing, just like the rest, brought to you by Rockingham Dragway and rockinghamdragway.com. That is Russell Parker. I'm Matt Harrelson. We'll see you right back here for another week on the track of ROSS Racing.